Hello. Hi. Good morning. It is my privilege and pleasure on behalf of Student Accessibility Services to welcome you here today. Thank you very much for being here with us today as we celebrate our 4th annual Accessibility Achievement Awards ceremony. Before we get started, I would like to introduce the Student Accessibility Service staff. I am Janie Villarreal, Counseling Specialist 1. Assistant Director, Dr. Laura Castillo. Counseling Specialist 2, Nancy Aguirre. Program Specialist, Ray Reyes. Our interpreter, Maria Cabanillas. Student Accessibility Specialist, Elizabeth Morales. Testing Specialist, Lupita Ramirez. And our wonderful director, Mrs. Tanya Paulette.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this special occasion. We have a guest speaker with us today, Dr. Lucelma Canales, and before I have her come up and speak, I would like to share some information about her background. Dr. Canales serves as the Senior Associate Vice President for Student Success here at UTRGV. She's responsible for the overall leadership and administration of programming and services leading to student success in academic, college life, and the transition of students to the workforce or graduate school. Dr. Canales served as the founding executive director for RGV Focus, a collaboration with Educate Texas. She's also led numerous institutional, community college, national reform initiatives, including Achieving the Dream, Breaking Through, and several with Excelencia in Education. She was born and raised here along the Texas-Mexico border. She and her family migrated to Washington and Oregon to work in the fields during the 1960s and 70s. Her lived experience includes participating in the integration of schools and witnessing the efforts of the United Farm Workers to bring to light concerns over working conditions of migrant farm workers. These and other experiences formed her commitment to work with organizations to identify and eliminate barriers that are faced by Latino students as they navigate the high school and college experiences. Dr. Canales has served as an administrator in higher education for over 25 years. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Lucelma Canales.
And by saying 25 years, it's actually 32. So I must update those years because I'm a lot older than that. Buenos dias. Good morning, everyone. I actually was just reminded by Ray that we're both, his parents and myself are from La Grulla. And I don't know how many of you know where La Grulla is, but La Grulla is in Starr County and it has a population of 1,300 people. And so when I grew up in Starr County, I lived 6 months in Texas and 6 months in Washington and Oregon until, I'm not going to use that, until about the age of 15. We don't need it, right? Yes. We do need it. Okay. It's a little crackly. You want to fix that?
I'll just turn that off.
Okay, perfect. And so my commitment always having grown up with my family and with family members that had different abilities. It was really early on that I learned the importance of meeting students where they are. And for me, my mother was the advocate always because she was one of the few people that actually had a high school diploma. And so a lot of our family members would look to her for guidance about how to navigate the school systems and how to navigate other things. And so I just wanted to share, that when we talk about student accessibility services as a unit, student accessibility services is really the responsibility of all of us, right? Like we are all responsible for helping meet our students where they are. And so, although I appreciate that we have a team of professionals that is committed to really being the leaders and the partners in this work, it's really all of our responsibility to ensure that we meet students where they are and with the abilities that our students have. And it's really interesting to me because it's really the faculty and staff that that have the most contact with our students. And so it is through your partnership that we're able to identify. And in particular in the Valley, I don't know how many of you know this, but 39% of our adults over the age of 25 still have less than a high school diploma or GED. So that tells us that a big majority of our family members still don't even know how to navigate a school district, high school, middle school setting. And the other thing is that we still have a large portion of our population that is first generation. And so our students don't know that they have to self-declare, that they need additional supports to help them be successful. And so we're having to do capacity building of our families, capacity building of ourselves, in order to be able to help our students be as successful as we know they can. So I'm gonna share, I was telling Tanya, I'm gonna share a personal story. I have 3 children, and my dream has come true. I told the superintendent of McAllen ISD many decades ago that I knew that my kids would be successful if I could get them out of the school district with no bodily harm, some self-esteem, and on their way to college, right? And that was said because there were challenges, even for a child that isn't considered to have, a disability. And so my son, in the middle of a school year in high school, I noticed that he had a major drop in his math grade. And so never got a contact by anyone, but when, as most good parents do, and stood in line to talk to the math instructor, and first thing I noticed is he used to have a female instructor when school started, but was told by the instructor in front of all the other parents that my child did not have the ability to learn math. I said, okay, that's news to me. He's been doing really well throughout all his life. So I said, what makes you think that he doesn't? And he couldn't answer my question because my son had actually mastered the TEKS and had mastered all of the different things prior to this experience. So what I did, I said, you know what? I used to work at South Texas College. I work with someone on my team who used to be the chair of the math department at Nicky Rowe. So I took Danny and I said, Juan Carlos, help me determine whether Danny knows math. Just that. And the coolest thing happened. Juan Carlos pulls out a Pringles can from his desk and says, Danny, tell me how you would figure out the surface, the circumference, all these things of this thing. And my kid is sitting there and just spouting out how he would do that. And I'm like, okay, he knows how to do this. And then he asked him, how would you think about volume? How would you think about, and I'm like, okay, so it's not about what he doesn't know. So I took him to Sylvan Learning Center, and the owner of Sylvan Learning Center happened to be a good friend, and I said, Susan, can you help me assess Danny's learning style? Well, come to learn that my child has to really draw from all 3 senses to learn. He has to hear, see, and do. And his new teacher was a lecture teacher. And the teacher he had before was a teacher that drew on all of the things that he needed. So I went back to the school, being the troublemaker my children say I am, and I said to the teacher, we've got to come up with a plan because this isn't working. And I shared with him everything that had happened, and still, it didn't go quite as well as we wanted to. And to this day, my son resents math. And it's a shame because he actually is very good at it. And so I share the story with you because my son didn't have, quote unquote, a disability, but he did have a learning preference that didn't align with his teacher's teaching preference. And so the inability for my son to communicate his frustration to the teacher was on me, I think, because I didn't build his capacity to do that. So many times it's about just meeting our students where they are. A good friend of mine who's now the president of El Paso Community College, Dr. William Serrata, was the VP at SDC, and he used to tell us all the time, like, no one rises to low expectations. our students will rise to high expectations. So if we think about high expectations, high rigor, high support, that's all we're asking of our faculty and staff and our systems for all our students. Because if we design things around our students that have different abilities, we'll meet all of their needs, because that's what we need for them. I will tell you, my son is now 28 and has been a kindergarten teacher for 7 years. And he's a fantastic kindergarten teacher. And now he's the lead for the kindergarten class at IDEA OWASA. And so I always share that because his experience, I think, has framed how he meets students where they are. He's had students, last year he had a student that was that had high functioning autism. And he was devastated when they pulled him out of his classroom because he had made a lot of progress with the student. And the mother almost demanded that he stay with him, but the school had other policies and practices. And I said to Mijo, as the lead teacher, you can change the system. So push your principal on, ensuring that this child continues to grow because he grew with you, right? And so all of those things. So I share those stories because I think we can all control the destiny, help control the destiny of our children if we are aware of all of that. Another thing, emerging issues. Tanya and I were talking about, we have some major national, state, and local issues when it comes to making things accessible to students. And the interesting thing is that as institutions and as faculty and staff, we're held accountable where vendors are not, right? Things like textbooks, things on how students can access things online. And so we have to be really cognizant as we're developing those things. And so as we think about the students that need to be met where they are because of their abilities, we also need to think about the students from the colonias. When we're placing things online, right, and they don't have access to high-speed internet, it's the same thing, right? It's that student does not have the accessibility to the tools that they need to be successful. So if we think about always what are the abilities of our students to get access to resources, to gain access to learning, I think that we can reframe things rather than saying, how do we prepare things for students with disabilities? It really is about accessibilities and building a scaffolding approach to how we support students. So one, this is a national issue. We were just, Jonica and I, a couple of months ago with our UT system sister schools. They're all worried about this because our textbook vendors are not being held accountable to make things accessible on a timely basis to our students. So you literally could say, here's my textbook, now convert it. They can literally work with you and say, we're gonna send you one chapter at a time. Is that fair to that student? Is it fair to you? Right? So we really need to be cognizant about those things as we're building our tools and resources for our students. There's also a trend. There is a group of students, individuals across the country that are challenging our systems. And one, they may be doing it for personal reasons, but two, they may be doing it as emerging advocates for the whole industry, right, and sector. And so these students are going around and really challenging our systems and saying, I need this accessibility service provided to me. And they're reaching to places that are really challenging our ability to respond. And so we really need to be partners, continue to be partners in this area as we look at this. And keep an eye and an ear on the Supreme Court and on our state and federal courts, because decisions on this are being held and given almost every day. And so it's really important. I'm really proud of UTRGV in the way that we really advocate for our students and meet their abilities where they are, whether it's through support services and or through the classroom. To those of you that are being recognized and who were nominated, that means that you're our bright spots for the institution. If we can tell the story of how you're doing that as faculty and staff and scale that impact for our students, I think that we can meet all of our students. Dr. Bailey has given us a task of increasing retention, fall-to-fall retention to 80%, and our graduation rate, right? So we can't do that if we don't bring all of our students. And so we really need to think about our equity goals and making sure that all of our students are making progress as they deserve. And so for those of you who are here, you get it. right? I'm saying this to the choir because you're being recognized for being that advocate and working with our students. And so for that, I thank you and I say mil gracias. And I always say to folks, thank you on behalf of the 1.3 million individuals in the Valley, because they will all benefit from the work that we do here at the university. We are the University of the Valley. So thank you for that. And I hope everyone has a really great weekend and that you continue to advocate and bring your peers along as we continue our journey to support our students. So thank you and mil gracias again.
This is on behalf of Student Accessibility Services. Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
continued support.
Appreciate it. I feel I'm falling apart. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Canales. It's always great to hear a story of how we can relate to our population, so thank you for sharing. My name is Laura Castillo, Assistant Director for Student Accessibility Services, and I'm just going to give a few highlights of our office. We're known as, they're giving me a note that they can't hear me, so. Testing, better? Okay. Again, my name is Laura Castillo. I'm Assistant Director for Student Accessibility Services, known as SAS or SAS. I'm just going to give a few highlights of our program, and we're going to start off with, Janie already presented our staff, and that's the list of names up there. I do want to highlight and give a little bit of recognition to Maria, our interpreter in the back. Maria, say hi. The reason being is that she supervises 10 part-time interpreters, and she usually accumulates anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 steps a day. So I can just imagine per week what she's doing. And also our other testing specialists help out in visiting our professors and walking our students to the classes and so forth. So that's the list of our staff. Just a few demographic information. We have, right now, currently for the fall semester, we have 356 students. We're probably going to project an increase before the semester is over. And like Dr. Canales was stating, we're looking at trying to help the initiative of self-disclosure and applying with the program. So that's something we're working on. The GPA is in good standing for all student, undergrad, and graduate students. We also have the most common accommodation, and this is based from our annual report that we submitted. And the first one is alternative testing, and that could include anything from extended time of a test to separate testing or a reduced distraction environment. We also have use of audio recorder in class, instructor provider notes and PowerPoints, volunteer note taker, and short and frequent note breaks. And then we have preferential seating. That could be someone who's asking to be seated in the front or maybe by the exit door. The most common disability categories are mental health and learning disabilities, and the most common majors are biology, psychology, art, nursing, and criminal justice. The role of SAS in the university community includes SAA offers opportunities for future disability professionals and models a social justice model of disabilities. SAA serves as a practicum site for students, undergrad and graduate, and here we have a few of our students in Brownsville that really help out. And they're either in rehabilitation, social work, psychology, and other disciplines. Through SAS, students from various academic programs are exposed to the practical aspects of disability, services through research, and innovation. Innovation is something we look at. We look at initiatives. And October was our Accessibility Awareness Month. And we had, including this ceremony, we had 9 initiatives just for the month. So we were really, really busy. And we had Pops and Pickles, Lunch and Learn. And also we had a panelist, a group of panelists that were able to disclose their own story regarding their disability. We really enjoyed listening to that. We also had Faculty and Staff Professional Development Day, and Ms. Tanya and Ms. Nancy were able to conduct a presentation, and they also invited other faculty and staff members to present regarding disability issues. We're also looking at expanding the reach of SAS. We're providing assistance to pregnancy and parenting accommodations. We have disability services liaison, and that's our veteran Art de la Garza. He conducts outreach to the veterans. And then we have our SAMs, our student accessibility mentors. And those are our students that help our students with issues regarding time and organization issues or learning study habits. It just depends on what the topic may be, and we'll have the students help out our SA students. Next, we have our student satisfaction survey, and these are some of the anonymous statements that were made by our students. The first one is having accommodations and knowing I have that support gives the confidence I need to focus on my schoolwork without fear that my disability will hinder me too much. Another one was, SAS has helped me advocate for myself and communicate effectively with my professors, supporting me and believing my disability, although it is an invisible illness. The next one is, SAA provided me with a mentor, so I have someone to talk to when I need help. They also gave me some advice on what I can do if I wanted a different format of the professor's notes. They also offered a study room so I can focus on studying for an exam. And the last one we have here is that without SAS assistance, I would not be where I am with my education. SAS has given me confidence, equality, and opportunity to succeed. So we thank you for being here today. We are going to initiate providing the certificates to all the nominees. We're going to call you one by one, and we're probably going to have an opportunity to take photos after we've called up everybody. Thank you. Do I stay here or do I? Oh, yeah.
Hello, good morning. So I'm going to be reading out the names of our nominees. I understand that only one has come in today, and so I wanted to refer you to the back of, I wanted to refer you to the back of the program that lists all our nominees. And so I would like to call Ms. Shay Nelson.
Good morning. My name is Elizabeth Morales, and I'll be presenting the awards of Accessibility Achievement Award. The first award goes out to Juan Carlos Munoz, the manager of Ticket Sales and Service Athletics. If you could. Mr. Munoz has partnered with the School of Rehabilitation Services and the Counseling, Health, and Human Performance Department, Student Accessibility Services, and various student organizations and community agencies in helping promote disability awareness and accessibility in campus by engaging with departments in UTRGV. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, our next award recipient, Dr. Jing Shang, was unable to be with us this morning, but I will go ahead and read some of the testimonies the students provided us with. Dr. Shang would tailor assignments for different students with accommodations letters, overseas students, etc. Dr. Shang is also very understanding and supportive. I witnessed her help a student who was having a panic attack to contact her family members and then accompany the student to wait until the brother came to pick her up. This was done by Virginia Cabarera, a student. Student Belonging Awards. This award goes to Dr. Kim Wen Fin, Lecture 1, Rehabilitation Services and Counseling. Dr. Kim Finn is extremely helpful in regards to helping students with disabilities. She has dedicated years into the field of rehabilitation and is very committed to her students. The Student Belonging Award goes to Cesar Eddie Quintanilla, Health Educator Coordinator 3, Student Health Services. I have long known Mr. Cesar Eddie Quintanilla to be a passionate advocate for students with disabilities. I cannot stress how that has influenced my own teaching styles, that having fun and being passionate about what we do allows us to be a better chance to truly educate our students. Thank you. The Student Belonging Award goes to Dr. M.D. Seydur Rahman, Assistant Professor, School of Earth, Environmental, and Marine Sciences. Dr. Raham is a professor who goes beyond expectations for his students. He always has open door, allowing for students who have disabilities to talk to him. I have seen him make proper environments for students who have physical and learning disabilities in order to enhance the success. A special recognition goes to Dr. Malinsky, Lecture 1, Biology. Dr. Malinsky has been a great asset towards helping me in my biology class. He takes time once a week to meet with me to make sure I understand the material in class. He guides my study habits so that I don't get overwhelmed. He also makes the time to talk with the staff in the accessibility office. Danielle. A special recognition for contributions to accessibility, Josefina Stolzen, Instructional Development Designer 2, Center of Online Learning and Teaching Technology. She goes above and beyond in supporting her students with disabilities. She also ensures that she not only meets the accommodations needed, but also provides a variety of alternative formats. For example, in helping one of her students, she researched different ways to support the student develop mind maps, charts, and open models in advance. Thank you so much.
So first of all, congratulations to all of the award recipients and the nominees. And thank you all again for joining us here today to celebrate these individuals who have made important contributions to accessibility here at UTRGV. And as Dr. Canales mentioned earlier, Student Accessibility Services is the department that's designated by the university to serve our students and support them through the provision of accommodations. But we all know, and as mentioned earlier, preaching to the choir, accessibility is a university-wide responsibility. We all play a role in ensuring equitable access and elimination of barriers. Contributions to accessibility assist students with disabilities, but ultimately the entire university community will benefit from these efforts. Student Accessibility Services will continue to collaborate with our campus partners, many of whom are present today, and we believe in our mission to provide equitable access for students with disabilities and to also create a sense of belonging and inclusiveness among our students while firmly establishing a community of accessibility here at UTRGV. So in closing, please join us again in celebrating our nominee and award recipients, and also please join us for some refreshments. Thank you for being here today.